What's up, guys? It is an awful, rainy, foggy, nasty day today, so I thought today's a good day to do a video talking about some stuff. So when I did the brake upgrade on my Malibu, I used cheap pads and rotors just to get the upgrade together and on the car, versus with most of my cars I buy higher grade pads and rotors. And today I want to talk about 4 reasons not to do what I did, 4 reasons not to use the lower priced, crappier pads and rotors. So let's go ahead and get to that. Cheaper pads and rotors, as with anything else that you cheap out, come at a cost. Today we're going to talk about what that cost is. And there's 4 major things that are going to be different between quality stuff and cheaper stuff, even if you're using the exact same brake setup. So just talking about replacing your stock stuff. If you go with, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you, one of the brands that I've used that are really cheap are the Baseline Power Stop brakes. They're very inexpensive. They're supposed to be OE equivalent. However, in my experience, they have not been. And the main thing that you'll notice right away with these is going to be brake dust. Lots of brake dust. You will have to clean the wheels every other day just to keep them from turning black. And on higher end performance brake pads, this can be common sometimes also, because sometimes like race brake pads are dusty, and that's just a payoff, or a trade-off for getting better bite and having them brake better. But with cheaper pads like this, you typically get all the brake dust without the bite. So a lot of dust in a less expensive brake pad is a big sign that what you've got is cheap and it's not working very well. Number 2, still on the brake pads themselves, less bite. You're going to have less stopping power, which you should notice right away. Usually that's because they've cheaped out the compound and it's not as aggressive as what a higher end brake pad might be. This may cause you to have brake pedal feel issues. So you may need more brake pedal to do the same amount of braking. And that's just common on cheaper brake pads, unfortunately. Now, once again, on higher end brake pads, sometimes race only brake pads don't have a good bite in the beginning until they get hot. And that's because they're engineered to work at higher temps on a racetrack, not putting around town at 20 miles an hour. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about cheaper brake pads that don't have a good bite at all, ever, under any temperature circumstance. And a lot of times, actually, when they get hotter, the brake bite will get worse. So number 3, onto the rotors themselves. You may have easier and more brake pedal pulsation from the brake rotors warping faster. That's a common problem with cheap rotors, because part of how they make them cheap is they put a little less metal in them. They're a little thinner in the vein area. They may not have as many veins. Sometimes they're also not the same grade of metal, and they don't dissipate heat as well as a higher end rotor would. So you get it hot one too many times, it warps a little on you. Now the steering wheel shakes every time you press the brake pedal. That is a thing that can happen to even higher end rotors if they're overheated, but it is a lot easier to have happen to cheaper rotors that just kind of can't handle normal wear. And 4, and this kind of ties into one we already talked about, but the other one is brake pedal feel. And that may be if the brake pad compound is very soft, if it's really high wear and low bite, it can make it feel like your brakes aren't working correctly. I've had cheap brakes make my brakes feel so bad that I thought I had a hydraulic problem before. And it's just because I was having to really push the brake pedal a lot further down to get the reaction that I was expecting out of the factory brakes. And that is another thing that can happen with cheaper brake pad sets. Now, why did I use those though? I needed to make a video and I wanted to get the upgrade onto the Malibu with the plan of upgrading the pad and rotor compounds later. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking We'll probably do a video later comparing these cheap brake pads and rotors to something like EBC, which would be a very high-end, really good brake company. So watch for that. That's something that may come up in the future. But if I missed anything, as always, drop it down in the comments and let me know. If you guys have any questions on brakes, brake compounds, what companies are good, which companies are bad, drop me some questions down in the comments and I'll answer all of them that I can. Other than that, drop this video a like if it was useful to you at all. And make sure you're subscribed so you see future videos. And I will see you guys in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and peace.